Was Komo News Jonathan Cho, was he fired from Komo because of a recent series of tweets and videos and kind of a montage of information on a Proud Boy right-wing rally in Olympia, which I might add appeared to actually be peaceful? Was he fired for this coverage? Is there other stuff going on? What's happening? This is a situation that's happening with a lot of folks who really, in my view and in my eyes, kind of cover the situation. They are real boots on the ground kind of folks, like covering news stories that, I don't really want to be involved with out in the field, because guess what? They're pretty dangerous. I mean, you're coming up against some folks who they don't want news coverage on this stuff. So Jonathan Cho goes down to Olympia, our capital, state of Washington, fearless. And he does some tweets and he does some video. Hey, here's a Proud Boys thing going on right now. And he creates a little montage of, slide, puts that out. And then later the station basically says, yep, he's out. And they haven't officially said he's out, but he has been deleted from, we're going to take a look at some of that footage. We're going to take a look at some of the montage stuff. He hasn't officially, I couldn't find any word on his official being fired from Komo, but this is what we're talking about. And he's the guy that provided the footage of walking up and down basically the Blade, which is 3rd Avenue, where that open air crime area in downtown Seattle was the absolute worst. 3rd Avenue between Pine and Pike. He walked up and down that street and got some amazing footage when it was at its peak. Now, that is not stuff that I want to be doing. Why? Because I like living. So hats off to Jonathan Cho. Some of the coverage that he puts out there is really impressive. We're going to talk about this. What is going on? Before we do, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies. I read news for reasonable people. Now, somebody being fired or getting let go, canned, we're providing you an opportunity to better yourself at another news organization that you might find to be a better fit. However you want to coach it, however you want to put that out there. It looks like Jonathan Cho is out, and this is not an uncommon kind of storyline that you see with folks who really get down and dirty and provide some news that the majority of mainstream media either won't cover or doesn't want to cover. And then a lot of channels just want to say, homeless problem in Seattle? Yeah, well, we're working on it. It's out there, but don't show anything. Don't show Antifa. Don't show the Proud Boys. Don't show any of the real stories going on. Give us, what somebody's cat was doing in their backyard with their eating dish. Show us that stuff. Show us it's crazy, right? What the media does and doesn't allow to basically be shown as a narrative. Cute dogs and cats and little kids, those are great all day long, but you start to, you take a little walk up and down the Blade and you show some of that stuff, and people tend to get a little worked up because, that's not good. That could be viewed as racist. Yeah, it's just crazy. And here's the guy doing the footage. He's Asian. So, kind of wild, right? A lot of that stuff going on out there. Let's take a look and see. To go, the only places that had any information on this are fairly left of center type outlets. So we're going to go with The Stranger, which I do enjoy reading. It's got a little different perspective there. We should probably say not reasonable a lot of the time, but we're going to read it anyway. On Saturday afternoon, Komo poverty porn reporter, Jonathan Cho, poverty porn reporter. That's a good one right there. It's almost like porn. It's not poverty. Yeah. Not good. Poverty porn reporter Jonathan Cho tweeted out a soft focus montage. You know who did upload their porn? I've been reading The Laptop from Hell. Hunter Biden had a channel on Pornhub. Interesting. Anywho, Jonathan Cho tweeted out a soft focus montage of a Proud Boys rally in Olympia and advertised a question and answer session the hate group planned to hold afterward, as if he were talking about some kind of humanitarian organization. No, I think what he was saying is, hey, here's the event. Here's some footage of the event. And if you are interested to see what they've got going on, they're going to be there for a while longer. That to me is reasonable. He's not like, hey, you know what? I'm Jonathan Cho of Komo News, and I think you should come on down and join the Proud Boys. I think you should become a member. That's not what he was saying. He was saying, hey, come down and check it out. Because guess what would happen if you did that at like an Antifa rally? An Antifa direct action march. Yeah, they're not going to allow you to film, number one. That's a hard no-go. How come? Well, because they're up to no good. That's the bottom line. That's what the umbrellas are for. You know, projectiles get tossed their way, or they want to cover their identity because they're doing stuff they shouldn't be. That's the deal. Proud Boys, you're just walking around on the street with American flags. So, you know, whether you want to view that as right or wrong, you can do that all day long. But I think Jonathan Cho is just saying, he's not saying he's a member of the Proud Boys. He's not saying to join the Proud Boys. He's not saying what they're doing is right or wrong. He's just saying, here's what it is. That's what I took away from this footage. That's a wrap. Proud Boys and other marchers say they will stay on the Capitol campus in Olympia for a few more hours to mingle and answer questions if anyone is interested in learning more about their cause and mission. Okay, so, all right. So that is not a massive promotion of the Proud Boys. It's just like, hey, they're going to be here for a while longer. If you want to view that as, hey, come on down and join the Proud Boys and, you know, be involved with their stuff, I mean, I guess you can extrapolate that from it, but I necessarily wouldn't. But Cho wrote after posting a thread of tweets presenting the group as prayerful patriots without mentioning the organization's role in planning the January 6th insurrection, nor its status as a terrorist entity in Canada. Well, things that have happened in Canada lately, I mean, do you really want to be holding out Canada as an example of being reasonable? I don't think so. So two sources say Cho no longer works for the station as of Monday morning. His name and photo no longer appear on the outlet's masthead. I did look that up. No mention of Jonathan Cho. And I really appreciate his reporting. I really do, because I'm like, oh, good Lord, there's some good footage there. I'm going to play that because it's reasonable. It's what is going on. And when Jonathan Cho provides it, that means I don't have to provide it, like in that instance, to prove to you what's going on. Because a lot of the stuff he covers, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous. And I'm not, you know, I'm not a weenie, but I'm also, I kind of know where my limits are and what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. And if you push the odds long enough, and you're as old as I am, Jonathan's younger than I am. If you push the odds long enough, it's like there are old climbers and there are bold climbers. There are no old, bold climbers, right? So you push the odds long enough, you're going to, it's not going to go in your direction. And not to say that I've covered a lot of events that have had, you know, examples of where I could have been physically in harm, but I have. And Jonathan Cho, his work is, if you look at his video, you're like, holy crap, where'd you get that? Oh, you walked it? You walked it with your phone. Whew, okay. Well done, sir. In a statement, Komo News Director Phil Bruce confirmed that the station decided to end our employment relationship with Cho effective today. Bruce said the outlet did not direct or approve Jonathan Cho's decision to cover this weekend's rally, nor did his work meet our editorial standards. Okay, what are the editorial standards that were violated here? That's what I'm kind of wondering about. So, okay, so that's what you've got going on. Now, the video I want to show you is Komo TV's Jonathan Cho posts videos promoting Proud Boys March in Olympia, Washington. And now this is another left of center YouTube channel. I'd never heard of it before, Daily Cause, but they provided a good example of what, you know, Jonathan Cho was tweeting out. Komo TV reporter Jonathan Cho posts videos promoting Proud Boys March through Olympia, Washington. All right. How do we differentiate between promoting and just news coverage of it? Where's that line? Because I didn't really see anything here. I've watched all the footage, and these are tweets that have been taken down, but they're available on other places. Video. I watched this stuff, and I'm not seeing this as a promotion, but if you want to spin it that way and get some more views, okay. That's your call. Do whatever you need to. All right. So I am going to hit play, and we're going to take a little look-see on this. They're in the street. They've got an escort. They're walking down the street. They've got a flag. Probably even had a permit. Imagine that. Shocking. I know. A permit. They're wearing their coats. They got flags. So, that's about all you need to see is they're doing a march. Now, if you're going to take that as, being a recruiting effort for the far right and for the Proud Boys, all right, I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think he was down there just taking a look around and seeing what was going on. Let's read a little bit more about what this, the stranger is saying about this event. He added to the montage recruitment energy when he or whoever made the video decided to set it to a ballad called We'll Have Our Home Again, which was written and recorded by a member of the Manor Bund, a group the Jewish News of Northern California described as a white separatist, ethno-nationalist men's club. Okay, whatever. In the YouTube comments for the song, the writer describes himself as a nationalist, and I'm sure he's got a real nuanced explanation for what he means by that. All right. In any event, Cho's little commercial was too much even for Komo, a formerly reputable outlet that Sinclair red-pilled a while ago. Sinclair is the corporate owner of Komo News. His montage tweet drew a number of complaints to the station's news desks, and he was asked to delete it for not conforming to Komo standards for objectivity and professionalism. He obliged. Okay, so there could be some violation here, and then reporters out there, is there some line that was crossed here? Apparently. And I'd say Jonathan Cho at this point in time doesn't care because he's like, all right, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm throwing out there. Cho did not respond to a couple of requests for comment, and then he blocked me on Twitter. Oh, no. Blocked somebody on the stranger? On Twitter? Oh, tell me no. But I've learned that no one at the station told him to drive down to Olympia to cover the march. He chose to cover the story because he thought the group might fight anti-fascists in the street. They might fight Antifa. And he was interested in documenting the violence. That said, Cho tagged Komo News' Twitter handle on every one of his tweets about the march. Furthermore, editors don't assign report. Okay. No one at Komo created this montage either. One employee at the station said they were 99% sure Cho did it himself. All right. 3 sources have said the issue of photographers not wanting to work with Cho started in 2020, and attrition increased based on recent coverage because he's covering dangerous topics. That's why. And I don't blame those photographers, but Jonathan Cho has decided to kind of get in there and really provide some footage. And sometimes that's going to entail going into areas that, you might have some dangerous folks in, and definitely dangerous environments. And I am guessing by when they're saying started in 2020, that's kind of when I started covering a lot of this. And yes, it was dangerous. So I think there's truth on both sides. It's a matter of, okay, what you want to believe and how it went down. The employee also described Cho as having gone full-blown rogue. We've got a rogue reporter. He's reporting on the homeless encampments. He's reporting on Antifa. I mean, his bounds are unknown. Full-blown rogue? Okay, so what we're talking about here is not abiding by the station's policies. But from what I saw, if that's full-blown rogue, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, whatever. A week and several Cho tweets later, the director sent out another email reminding journalists of the company's social media policy, calling the rules for posting to social media no different than for a story or a newscast. So what we're seeing is people who are actually getting the news done are shirking corporate locations and jobs and responsibilities, and they're going out and doing their own thing. We're seeing that happen. Brandy Cruz here in Seattle is a perfect example of that. Yeah, I'm just probably not I'm going to go do my own thing. And if you're good enough at it and you get enough subscribers, you can make a pretty good living doing that. And guess what? There isn't this corporate control that you have in these big news settings. So, is that part of it too? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just reading the news here for reasonable people. You know what I mean? So we're not in the opinion blog business or on a mission built around any particular cause. We are journalists and we tell stories, and we do not ever, and we are not ever the story. Okay. I didn't really feel like Jonathan Cho here was being the story. I feel like he was showing it, and it's maybe a story that some people are uncomfortable with, because here's the deal. This actually was a peaceful protest. Oh, shocking. Shocking. Unlike those mostly peaceful protests during the summer of 2020 that caused about $2 billion worth of damage across the U.S. per insurance company, payouts. $2 billion of damage, but don't worry, it was mostly peaceful. So what this kind of footage here tells me is, oh, yeah. All right, so we've got this, and it shows an angle of, maybe some stuff on the far right that people don't want to see, because guess what? It actually is peaceful. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we can't have that. And then when you want to show the far left side, and there's nothing to show because they, number one, don't want you to video. And number two, when you do video them, they're throwing rocks and concrete and bricks through windows, looting stores. They're tagging things up, just chanting chants that are so have so many expletives in them that, they're not suitable for children, because that's the kind of change that we really need right now. So you've got this whole kind of double narrative thing going on. And so here we are. The employee also told Cho was candid about telling people he wants to get fired. All right. Does he? Maybe. Let's find out. Sinclair's contracts are famously punitive. Many agreements carry a liquidated damages clause that imposes a large financial penalty on reporters who leave early. So it makes sense that he'd rather get fired than break his contract. Furthermore, another source, at this point in time, this is all conjecture because nobody's heard from Jonathan and or Komo and or Sinclair. Nobody has. We're just making stuff up at this point. But that's what we're doing. Hey, here is news for reasonable people. I don't know what the reality is, but these are the stories that are going on. It's kind of like in an appraisal where you don't really know what to do. You know what your best option is? It's punt. And that means take whatever data you've got, put it so the reader of the report can get an idea of what you're faced with. And you basically say, these are the terms of what's going on with this home right now, or these are the terms that's going on with this market right now. I don't know what the impact is going to be because it's outside of the scope of what I can, future tell, but it's going to have some kind of impact. Right now, we've got Jonathan Cho off of the masthead of Komo News, and we've got a number of sources saying, hey, he's been fired, and he wanted to get fired. So it looks like Cho is setting himself up on an extremely familiar trajectory. In recent months, national right-wing commentators and outlets have amplified his exploitative coverage of poor people living in tents. That's also called a real issue facing Seattle, Portland, San Francisco that people are concerned about. When you pitch it as exploitative coverage of poor people living in tents, you kind of want to make us feel sad for these folks. And they're just poor people. Well, it's a lot deeper than that, isn't it? And that's what Jonathan Cho kept reporting. There's a lot of nuances, and a lot of these folks, they're okay living in the tent. They're okay living the lifestyle because that lifestyle isn't available to them in shelter. Just saying, right? So that attention has garnered lots of views for his videos and has increased his profile around town because he's sharing reasonable news. He's sharing something that people need to be aware of, and it's something that's going on. And the way I saw it, all right, he put in some music. Okay. All right. I hear a lot of music. I hear a lot of music from a lot of different sources. I don't immediately go with, oh my gosh, good Lord. The soundtrack doesn't make me, not look at the actual facts. And the actual facts on what he reported in this deal, he reported some Proud Boys who had some flags And they walked down the sidewalk. They didn't throw bricks into anything. They didn't tag anything up. They didn't break anything. They didn't get into any fights. It was all actually peaceful. And then they had a Q&A session afterwards. So if that's hard to understand as a reasonable scenario, I'm sorry, that the Proud Boys, they didn't have, Tiny down there just beating the crap out of somebody. Tiny wasn't there. Tiny didn't happen. And what do you want to see? Do you want to see something more hardcore? I'm not really sure. It's hard to see his breathless, shallow coverage of homelessness and this Proud Boys PR as anything other than audition tapes for One American News Network or Newsmax. Or it could be that he's just providing a story. Interesting. And if he can cash in on a cancel culture narrative, it could even jettison him up to the Fox News mothership. Maybe it will. Maybe because he's actually recording on news stories that a lot of people want to hear about. Yeah, I think that could be as well. And so you've got this real battle. I mean, take a look at that ridiculous Hunter Biden laptop. How's that whole thing coming as far as the major mainstream media kind of basically saying, yeah, we killed that story. That's not going at all. That has just been, it wasn't even buried under the rug. There was no rug. It's like, yeah, just nothing. You got nothing there. So I think there's a lot of folks out there who want to hear news for reasonable people. And sometimes these stories, they come out and people deem them not reasonable. And there's probably a bunch of other stuff going on behind the scenes and below the surface here that I'm not aware of, that you're not aware of, that I don't have the ability to comment on. But here's how I see it. That's this podcast. So thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for supporting News for Reasonable People. That's it. I will keep you updated on what happens with Jonathan Cho, but we'll see. We'll see what's going on. Take care. Bye for now.